What's up, Internet? My name is Attack Slug, and welcome to my 2015 Game of the Year list. This top 10 is for digital-only games. Higurashi When They Cry is a visual novel in the purest sense of the word, and the less you know about it going into it, the better. There's no choices, there's no interaction, there is simply watching this story play out. And if you've only played about an hour or two, keep going. Because at about that halfway mark, it gets real dark, and I still have kind of goosebumps from the twists and turns that plot takes. It is 110% worth playing. Kick and Fennick is a game that I bet a lot of you have not played because it came out exclusively on the PlayStation Vita, and who the hell has one of those? But this game is a great example of taking one core mechanic and just expanding on it throughout the length, not overstaying your welcome, and having a finely crafted and tuned 2D platformer that is super satisfying to play, and hopefully, perhaps one day, it'll be on a platform that somebody actually owns. Ori and the Blind Forest was probably the most beautiful game I played all year, and again, perhaps not getting the props it deserves, because it came out primarily on the Xbox One, but also on the PC. Now for me, outside of the visuals, the defining thing for this Metroidvania-style platformer is the fact that you could assign your own checkpoints. So no more relying on the game to go, okay, well, play through all the easy stuff right up until you're gonna die at the one hard part. You put the checkpoint at the hard part, and then you can bang your head against that part until you finally defeat it and continue on with this amazing game. Rocket League is a game I never expected to enjoy as much as I did, and as you can see from this footage here, I haven't played in months, came right back in, scored 3 goals back-to-back, hat trick, baby! There's something magical about how they combine car combat and soccer. They made it accessible, but it still had depth to it, and it has such a great pick-up and play that I can take a break for months, come back, and still have an amazing 5-minute round. Dropsy the Clown needs a hug, you guys. This is a point-and-click adventure game that does not have any dialogue. As insane as that sounds, everything is depicted through pictograms. One of the most surreal and heartwarming gameplay experiences I've had all year. If you have any love for the old-school point-and-click adventure-style gameplay, you owe it to yourself to pick up Dropsy and have a hug adventure. Where are we going? We're going down the well. Downwell is a 2D roguelite platformer designed by one dude, and it is extraordinarily addicting. Downwell is the kind of game that gave me just a little bit of that spelunky high that I've been craving for ever so long. Downwell once again proves that it does not matter how simplistic your graphical styling is, you don't need AAA $50 million to make a game that is incredibly fun and rewarding to play. Not only that, the game's like $3. If you haven't picked up Downwell, seriously, go pick up Downwell and play with the controller. I'm not sure what MetaNet does after making M++. They've reached the pinnacle of what they could possibly do with this 2D platforming format. There are literally thousands of stages. I'm not sure where you really go from there. That being said, it's a game I am never going to finish because there are literally thousands of stages. When it comes to the most bang for your buck, N++ is pretty high on my list this year. Games like N++ are fantastic because they feel like the perfect evolution of a genre that I fell in love with when I first started playing video games back in 1985. What year is it? Yakuza 5 is available in English. I thought it would never happen, but 3.5 years later, here we are. I don't know that Yakuza 5 is a great starting point if you have not played the series before, and certainly it is kind of prohibitively hard to get to because it's on the PS3, and most people at this point have moved on to the PS4. But considering it's on a last-gen platform and it's digital only, I'm not sure how much of an audience the game can really sell to, considering it's the 5th part in an overarching story path. But all that baggage aside, if you are into badass simulators, if you are into drama, if you're into comedy, if you're into having the most video game, Yakuza 5 is the most video game. Now I know you might see this footage here and think, oh, it's an open world game like GTA, and it's really not. Think of it more like an RPG where the random battles are you just punching dudes in the face. I can't think of any other game where I went from beating up gangsters to playing some arcade games to doing some fishing to driving a Japanese taxi and following the rules of the road, all within like a 2-hour time span. But if you don't have a PS3, don't worry. Sony has officially confirmed that Yakuza 0 is coming out next year, and that'll be on the PS4. And if you think that that's going to end up on my Game of the Year list next year, you're probably right. The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky Second Chapter is a game that actually got released in English in 2015. This is a sentence I'm actually speaking out loud, and it actually came true. They put out a PSP game in 2015. Now, this is very high on my Game of the Year list for digital-only games this year. It came out on PSP, Vita-compatible, and also on Steam, but I'm going to give you the sternest of warnings. If you have not played Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky First Chapter, either on PSP or on Steam, do not play Second Chapter. It is an overarching story. You will be super lost. However, if you already played First Chapter much like I have, and you already dealt with that cliffhanger ending 3.5 years ago, you've probably already been playing Second Chapter. You probably already don't need me to tell you to play Second Chapter, but man, what an amazing JRPG that if you are a fan of JRPGs, you should have already been playing by now. Do not let the high price or the old age of the original release deter you. This is a 70 to 90 hour game, if not longer. Believe me, you will get your money's worth. A staggering attention to detail that most games could only dream to accomplish. A staggering amount of text to go through. It is truly a marvel. But again, play the first one first, then play this one. Otherwise, a lot of stuff is not going to make much sense. So I'm sure you're wondering, how in the hell is BOXBOY your #1 digital game of the year when you've got competition like Yakuza 5 and Trails in the Sky Second Chapter? But there's just something about BOXBOY where it's this great little puzzle game that just starts out so simplistic, and the amount that they build upon that core concept of being able to stretch out and then stretch back in is just satisfying. Not only the best puzzle game I've played all year, but the best puzzle game I've played in quite some time. If you have a 3DS and you like puzzle games, BOXBOY is a no-brainer. Go get that right now. Much like Kick and Fennick, this is a game that takes their core concept, expands upon it, breaks your brain with it, and has the amount of charm and polish you expect from any Nintendo and HAL Laboratories release. So that was my 2015 top 10 for digital releases this year. Tune in tomorrow for my top 10 on physical games in boxes. But until then, and until next time, I am your host, Slug, and I will see you next time right here on this channel. And I'm out.